Welcome to the Mayor of Money podcast with former Burlington Mayor Rick Goldring of Goldring Financial Leadership. In this podcast, we provide successful business owners, including doctors and dentists, with insights to minimize tax and risk while maximizing retirement income and future legacy. Join us for this journey as Rick draws from years of experience and guest experts, including successful entrepreneurs, to provide unique strategies and approaches to estate and financial planning matters, as well as business in general. Now, on to the show.
Well, today I want to welcome to the Mayor of Money podcast, Mimi Fay and Alejandra Moreno of Honeybee Development based out in British Columbia. I say out in British Columbia because I'm in Ontario. They're in British Columbia. But ladies, very much I want to welcome you to the Mayor of Money. I've been looking forward to this for some time. I'm just thrilled to have you on and welcome.
Thanks, Rick. It's really nice to see you again.
So, you know, you're both in development. Your partner's in real estate development. We'll talk about some of the projects in a short period here, but I do want to hear about your history. And I know both of you were not born in Canada. You came to Canada at different ages. Maybe first with you. You came to Canada when you were 4 years of age from China. So you've grown up in British Columbia. And what got you into the real estate development with Alejandra?
Well, I came to British Columbia. My parents were seeking democracy from China. So they came and they're like, let's just go and see what happens. No language, 2 suitcases and a 4-year-old in tow. So that was really fun. Lots of good memories, being very tight on money. So I think that's the fire that lit my drive, and then type A as well. So that doesn't help. But I kind of stumbled into real estate, really. My parents were academics, so there's no business lineage in the family whatsoever. And ever since I was a kid, I just wanted to be a mom. Like that was kind of my big goal. Get a steady job, have some kids, go on 5 weeks of vacation a year and climb the corporate ladder. And that's what I did after university for about 10 years. So I worked, had a corporate life. I studied, went to school like a good Asian kid would, got my bachelor's in business and finance, worked at a bank, played the piano, good at math, blah, blah, blah. And then I had 3 kids back to back. And the necessity came where I needed to find something that created more freedom. So I think that that fire of, okay, I can't trade time for money anymore. So I need to figure out another way to make money. Did a lot of hustles, side hustles, built our own house during the process with 3 toddlers, 3 kids.
So what do you mean you built your own house? You acted like the general contractor, or what did you do?
So yes. I became a general contractor. I went from a downtown girl in heels and a skirt to a pickup truck and steel-toed boots almost overnight. And the reason is because we couldn't afford a general contractor and our house had mold and my daughter was having health issues. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it myself. Took the licensing, went to the classes, and bought a pink hard hat, and away we went. Through that experience, we met a lot of really good people, a lot of bad ones, but a lot of really good ones. We created a construction company, and then we started developing. So that's when I met Alejandra, and we did renos together. We converted single families to short-term rentals, because Alejandra's the businesswoman here. So I'm like, I just want to go to site and I want to clean up garbage and I want to paint and do this and do that. And then she's like, how do we build this business? So we exploded exponentially, started doing developments, working for ourselves, because once our construction company was established, we started doing building for other people. It was a really good business, good money, no risk. But also we made a set income, and I soon found out that I was trading time for money again. So Q Alejandra, we met, and the rest is history.
So you're right. Cue Alejandra. It's about time I give Alejandra a little bit of opportunity to speak here. Listen, Alejandra, you came to Canada from Ecuador when you were a little older than 4. All your education was in South America, in Ecuador, and then you came to British Columbia. And what did you do when you started out? And did you know you had this sort of entrepreneurial zeal when you came to Canada?
Oh yeah. So yes, I came to Canada in my mid-20s, and we came also seeking for security and a better future. So back home, it's a paradise, but it's definitely not the safest place. So once we were pointed with some guns in the head, we said, okay, I think this is a bit too much, and we can't bear children here with my husband. And my husband is a professor at UBC now, but he wasn't that way when we met. So we wanted to go and find a beautiful country that would host our family, and he could do his master's program and my continuing study. So I did my business schooling in South America, in Ecuador, in Quito. And fast forwarding, I came here, did some studies at UBC. Then I found a sales position. So I started from rock bottom and not what I was doing back home. I had a lot of entrepreneurial spirit since I was 6 or 7. Going back to your question, I go in a lot of rounds, like, so beg your pardon, I'm not like as consigned as Mimi. I fly a bit more than her. And so what I did is from 7 until 22, just many different types of businesses. And I loved every single one of them, from doing chocolates and selling my mom's second hands from her clothing factory, to creating my own businesses and before my 20s. And then I came here, did some sales, then I became a sales coach. And then I created my first business where I raised the money that I needed to create this bigger project in Gastown. So I created this business doing import-export processes and high-end furniture store, custom order, from South America. So that's kind of where I got my first bucket of gold, and I slowly transitioned into real estate. So buckets of gold came in, and then I realized soon enough that passive income was a beautiful thing. And I said, wow, okay, so I have done many businesses, and oh my gosh, passive income is a thing. And so we started doing that, and we kept growing. And one day I was able to be a mom after many, many years. And I decided that my passive income was enough to have me not work. So I retired. And I was a mom for 5 years. And then my mind got really busy, and I started researching as to how I'm going to move forward once my kids go to preschool. And that's when things exploded. I chose to go back to work, and I said, you know what, I can either go to counseling and help people realize that they can have a better future. So you can grind it and you can learn, you can have your first bucket, second bucket of gold, but how do you get freedom from that? And that was my big question while I was enjoying my passive income and saying, what am I going to do moving forward?
There's a purpose that you need. It's not just monetary, right?
Yeah,
you need a purpose.
You need a purpose. And how many margaritas can you have with your kids without doing much? Like,
well, margaritas on the beach with your kids, not having drinks.
So about a year ago, the two of you got together, and you decided to work together. So you found your purpose. You found your purpose. So how do you define your purpose? You're in the real estate development business. How do you define your purpose now?
I would say we want to drag along with us as many people that are looking to find financial freedom that allows you to integrate better ways of living. It's very simple. It's simple, but it's not easy.
So we're both really spiritual people. So I think we met.
Of course, you're from British Columbia. Of course you are.
Yeah, we do yoga and we drink oat milk and things like that. But we met on a play date, like just another mom. but we soon realized that the values that we hold go a little bit more than just your basic needs of food, shelter, and money. We really want to be able to show people how to create abundance and your reality is what you perceive. And there's a lot of people with abundance that don't feel abundant. And there's a lot of people who don't have much but feel abundant. And so we want to be able to align both, because that is what truly gives satisfaction and happiness and fulfillment and all those great words. And we soon realized that with my strength and Alejandra's strength, that we can create that and help people in their journeys through real estate. So, we're going all fluffy and whatever. We land back to earth. We create money through real estate so we can help people create abundance in other places in their lives, like relationships and time and everything like that. That is our purpose, and we want to drag as many people as we can. We want to show people how we're doing it. We want to show people our journey, and hopefully, whether they come along with us or not, they can learn a thing or two.
So let's talk about your journey a little bit. So you've worked on a number of different projects. You are working on a number of different projects now. Can you give us an example of one project that maybe you started earlier that is close to completion or has been completed? Like, where are you at with regard to the different projects that you started with and that you're working on now?
Oh my God, which one do we choose? Because so basically Mimi has her own portfolio before meeting me, and I have my own portfolio before meeting Mimi.
Okay.
So then.
So Alejandra, pick one from your portfolio of a project that I know you're proud of all of them, but one you're particularly proud of, and why you're proud of it.
I would choose Nanaimo. Would you?
Well, that one is not nearing complete.
Okay.
Or if you have a vision for, sure, let's talk about something you have a vision for that you've started that hasn't come to fruition yet.
Okay, we can do both. So really quickly, so one of the nicest projects that we have with my hubby is a school in South America that has buildings, and we have a really beautiful, solid tenant there that we love, like we absolutely love. And so that one took a little bit of time to find the perfect sorry, 1 second. Yeah. That it took a bit of time to finalize and get it up and running and clear.
So this is a school, you said? This is a school?
Yeah. So we have a pretty large plots of land with buildings in South America. And so those ones allow us to have a very comfortable situation coming here. Ecuador is dollarized, so even the dollar exchange is quite beneficial to us. So that one's one really cool. And then we have land banking that we have acquired, like in beaches and homes in South America, that it's just portfolio that grows. But
so you've invested in both continents, both North and South.
We have. Yeah, we have. And but one that I really love, because it's very challenging. And we've done crazy things with is we have 2 properties in Nanaimo, oceanfront. And those are the actual first projects that we both bought together. And so they hold a very special place in my heart. So we have a designation OCP for higher density, but have a triplex in one, 3,000 square feet house in the other one. Mimi was like, oh my God, there's no way we can put these babies up for short-term rentals. Like, they're just too ugly, but the lots are beautiful. And I'm like, Mimi, be a woman of faith. You can do this, we can do this. So we purchased them. And then we put a lot of makeup into them, inexpensive makeup. And we set up amazing design for the 4 units. And we have income coming from those ones while we're waiting for the rezoning process. And in 3 years, we're probably going to have 3 to 5 years, let's say, depending on the city and how gracious they are. We're going to have 20 units coming. And so there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of hoops, there's a lot of moving parts to that one, but I think those two are the ones that excite me a fair bit.
There's a lot of things that we can do because the neighborhood is right across the beach. We've been exploring, community living. We've been exploring things where we can hold on to them, keep it as a rental portfolio, perhaps doing some short-term rental because the lots are so beautiful. There's a lot, it's a blank slate where we can do a lot of those cool things. I'm actually meeting the city planner again tomorrow.
She's flying
about it. Yeah, I'm taking the boat. I'm taking the boat to go see it. But it's a prime example of forced appreciation on all levels because we go in, we're rezoning, we're renovating, we're increasing the income because we're treating it as a business. It's making income, it's debt servicing, and then we're going into the development. We want to bring in the community aspect where we can do some sort of for purpose, and that'll also get us brownie points with the city. So it's
you need those brownie points with the city. You need that municipal approval, and you need to bring the city along. You need to bring the councillors along and the mayor, and hopefully get some support. Is housing as political today as it was 4 or 5 years ago? Because right now, on every agency, CHMC, every agency will say we have a housing crisis, and we need another 1.5 million housing units in Canada, whatever the number is over the next 10 years. Are municipalities acting like there's a housing crisis, or are they, I'll try to be careful here. Are they being pushed too hard by people that really don't want their communities to change, or certainly not in their area where they live?
Well, we're recording, so I'm not going to name any geographical locations because, but I know in Ontario, it's a little bit more aggressive than BC. I'll believe it when I see it because I deal with the city on a weekly basis for all of my projects. The initiative is there, but in practice, how do you take that mandate and trickle it down into, who does what, which department speaks to which department? The systems and the processes have not kept up. So that's the problem we're facing.
I can try to defend the municipalities, having been a mayor of a city. But it is demanding, and you do want to get it right, and you do have to check with different agencies. You've got to get different agencies to sign off on the development. So there's a process there. My criticism, I won't ask you for criticism, but my criticism is the time it takes. And sometimes when a developer goes so far, they say, well, you also need this. Well, okay, we could have got that if you told us at the beginning. We could have had that much earlier. Well, I didn't know. Blah, 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 blah. And so I think there's some improvement that can be had.
For sure.
Processes, and that the planning departments need to think about their role as in expediting development and get it in front of council as soon as possible, because people don't appreciate the cost that developers have to incur for the delay of different projects. And
I think time is the main issue that we have with the cities, depending on which demographic we're talking about.
Well, also there's a huge labor shortage right now. Everybody,
there's lots of risks.
Nobody works. A geotech can take 4 months to get a report back to us.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, the water studies for Nanaimo took a fair bit of time. There's so many stories behind each development.
But you need to be patient, right? You look at the process you have to go through. You look at the process you have to go through. There are lots of risks that you have to factor into your pro forma to provide a cushion in case things don't necessarily work out. So there's so many different factors. Like, what are some of the things that are issues that can keep you up at night, if anything keeps you up? Because you both seem to be tremendously confident in what you're doing, tremendously competent in what you're doing. You look on the bright side, you're optimistic consistently. Are there any issues that could keep you awake at night?
So Mimi sleeps like a baby. my mind at night can get really busy. So I always say, if we don't know what we're going to do, Mimi, it's okay. Let's talk to the pillow. And then the pillow will talk. So I always say that. And really, like, I go to bed and then I ask, or I put an intention out there to something that's greater than us. And more often than not, I will get an answer at night. But it's basically, how do we make this better? How do we grow consistently? Because we've had a consistent growth. For many people, it's really fast. For a lot of people, not at all. And we just want to make sure that we handle everything with the same care and nurture and capacities. And are we having, like, do we have enough team? Like, the teams are good enough? And that's my business brain. Is financing aligned with people, is aligned with suppliers, is aligned with investors? Like, is everybody okay?
So I think what keeps us up at night are not necessarily worries, but it's the to-do list, the never-ending list of things to do.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, my mind will start going at 5 o'clock in the morning and say, oh, I got to do this before the kids wake up at 8 and all of that. But in terms of worry, I mean, we can control what we can control, which is the to-do list.
Yeah.
But the things we cannot control, we make calculated risk and we do our due diligence. That's all we can do.
And I guess you just got to roll with things. So if a unexpected issue comes up from a trade, from one of your construction partners, if something comes up from the city last minute that we got an issue here, you just gotta smile and deal with it, right?
Well, I think that's exactly when I was telling you, like, I either do counseling or I go back full on into real estate. Because I think there's a huge portion of what we do that is subjective, that it's abstract. And trust me, every project has a curve, something unexpected. There's always a delay. There's always a cost overrun. You're always driving that, like, okay, how much of the contingency are we using? Can we minimize it? How do we balance the budget? Like, there's always so many things to take into consideration. But at the end of the day, mindset is what makes you enjoy it. And it's that spirit and your purpose that is really aligned with your to-do list that actually makes sense. So when we have stressful moments, I'll give you an example. It's very clear right now, interest rates. So right now we're going through, I think, 3 refinancing this month, and there's changes in the amount of money that we're deploying to the mortgages every month. And we want to make sure that everything's good and it's stable, and then we can carry through the projects. And do we have control over that? We don't. No. So will that keep you up at night? Then mindset kicks in and say, you can control your to-do list. You can control risk mitigation. You can control cost. You can control many things. Are we gonna be resourceful? We come from countries where you have to be resourceful. So we're scraping. So how do we maximize our incomes? How do we minimize our costs? And how do we keep these babies nurtured?
So it's a continuing process that
it is.
You're never sitting on firm ground. And maybe you are for a period of time, but you know the ground is going to soften up at some point and you've got to be prepared for it. So I assume you're always thinking ahead about potential eventualities you may have to deal with.
Yes, and that's an every week conversation, because every project is quite unique. Yeah. And every project has its challenges, and like our work together is one. We're stronger together. We always say that. So when I'm down, Mimi will pick me up, and then when she's down, I'll make sure to pick her up. And that is a beautiful way of growing, because life is not supposed to be easy, but you're supposed to learn how to navigate with joy.
Right. It's not what we have to deal with, it's how we deal with it, right?
Yes.
And I think you guys are great poster children for that you've been through different things, but you come out smiling the other end, and whatever is thrown at you, there's a tremendous confidence there with you. I see you nodding your heads, but there's a tremendous confidence that you'll figure it out, whatever it is, right?
We will, because not only we have all our families and all our state basically at stake. You know, like we have everything that we have built for combined 45, 50 years of work into all these babies. So we make sure that we nurture them, we take good care of them. And equally important, we have investors that trust us, and we are the trustees of their growth as well. So we need to make sure that everybody's healthy.
I think that's a perfect way to end off. I want to say thank you to Mimi Fay and thank you to Alejandra Moreno of Honeybee Development, just like the Honeybee, development.com. You can go on their website to get more information about them. But you truly are inspiring. You've achieved so much. You have a certain aura of positive energy and a great aura of calmness that you exude. So congratulations on everything that you've achieved thus far. I look forward to watching what you're doing in the future, and I know that there's great excitement ahead and great potential ahead for both of you and the people that invest with you. So congratulations on your success so far, and thank you very, very much for being so open and candid with me in this particular interview. Congratulations, and I'll have you back on again.
Thank you so much.
Anytime. And
Anytime.
I want to acknowledge you and what you're doing for the community. You're a key person and mayor of money. It's just going to keep growing because you're offering so much knowledge, and you're allowing people to know that there's a different future if they take that leap of faith. And so I want to thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you again to both of you, and a big thank you to everybody who tuned in. We're going to see you next time on the next episode of The Mayor of Money. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Mayor of Money podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. If you'd like to have a one-on-one discussion with Rick or have an idea for a particular guest or topic, contact him at rick@rickgoldring.com. See you next time on the Mayor of Money podcast.